two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and our attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
It's two dudes with attitudes, of wrestling podcast with your boy Ryan and your boy Denton. And this is our AEW edition where we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all AEW fans are like, where are my two favorite haters of AEW? We've missed them the last few weeks. We've been busy. And it almost got messed up again today, but Ryan decided to record at midnight so we can get these episodes done, because that's how much we love you two dude Wolfpack fans out there. We love y'all. We're doing it for you, but we are back. I don't know if we have news. I forgot to ask you, but this is a pretty quick AEW week. I think it's nothing yet. All right, we're gonna get
I can't think of anything. I mean, AEW's they're doing Fight for the Fallen on January the 1st.
Yes, they are
in Asheville, North Carolina, which I'm going to try to go to. I don't know. Again, we got to stop with all these holidays and stuff, but that's also the first episode that they're streaming live on HBO Max. And so I'm excited about that. And I think that's really the only news that we have. There's rumors that, Ring of Honor Final Battle is going on right now as we speak. And Chris Jericho is fighting Matt Cardona for the ROH World Championship. And I think that there's a rumor that AEW is trying to sign Matt Cardona to a permanent full-time deal. And I think he would be great for AEW. I think he could be a huge shot in the arm for them if they could get him. I think he'd be a great asset. But we'll see what happens. Just don't put him on ROH.
No, but is he going to sell out? I thought he was Mr. No Sellout now. Isn't he Mr. Like, I don't want that. I'm all about the indie scene.
Well, now his wife, is the U.S. champion in WWE. So maybe he's like, okay, maybe I need to find some place and be the world champion. So who knows?
And why not AEW, like you said? All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about Rampage, Collision. I'll separate them, but then we'll break them all down at once. It was like a star-studded Rampage. And the funny thing is that I saw Rampage commercials this week on TV too. I'm like, aren't y'all ending it? Yeah, I don't know what's happening right now. But anyway, let's get into it. Rampage, Matt Cardona, Mr. Zack Ryder himself, defeats Brian Keith to open the show. Toni Storm is back for the first time and defeats Harley Cameron. Deonna Purrazzo wins a squash match. Chris Statlander still wants gold. Don Callis brags about his family. This is going to get awkward. Hobbs and Mark Davis, ladies and gentlemen, defeat the Don Callis family. Hobbs holds up the international title to close the show, and that is the Rampage review. We're going into Collision, where it doesn't get any better for the Don Callis family. Darby Allin asks Will Ospreay for help, but he's only worried about a pointless world title that he's trying to win. Willow Nightingale defeats Jamie Hayter to advance in the International Women's Cup. After the match, we get the return of the beautiful, oh, girl, I love you. Julia Hart is back, and she lays out Jamie Hayter and walks back to her singing her music that I missed so much because the house always wins. Okada defeats Beast Mortis to earn 3 points. Toni Storm defeats Shasha McKenzie. After the match, Storm declares herself all elite, and Denton laughs. Thunder Rosa and Mariah May I did laugh. Mariah May are both ready for each other, I guess. Action Andretti and Leo Rush defeat Top Flight to become the number one contenders for the tag titles I forgot existed. Chris Statlander wins a squash match. I guess Dustin Rhodes is in ROH. I don't know. He made an announcement. The Outrunners and Orange Cassidy, Daniel Garcia, and Commander defeat the Premier Athletes and MXM Collection in a match we didn't need. Hobbs versus Takeshita at World's End. And Mark Briscoe defeats Kyle Fletcher. Mark Briscoe defeats Kyle Fletcher to earn 3 points and close the show. But wait, there's more. The Death Riders kidnap, beat up, mug, murder, I don't know, FTR to close the show for reals. And that's the Collision review. Let's go. Rampage Collision. I thought they were jam-packed episodes. I'm making jokes, but
no, I thought this.
I thought they were all fun.
Yeah, but you forgot the part of the Collision where they were like the Death Riders were trying to put like chloroform on somebody and like not make them drink
you're right.
Like the weird solution or whatever it was. They were like trying to drug somebody and like poison.
No, that was last week.
Was that last week on Collision?
Yeah, it was Orange Cassidy. They were going to put Windex in his throat, and then FTR made it safe.
Oh, that's right. Okay, and then this week FTR, yeah, they got captured and kidnapped.
The show was over, and then they took him, and then Homeboy Wheeler Yuta was like,
yeah,
and then the door was like, bang, 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 and I was like,
that's right.
What's going on? But then FTR is on Dynamite, which we'll get into. So they weren't kidnapped, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, AEW kidnappings never go according to plan.
Jack
Perry, remember Jack Perry got kidnapped, and he was like, "How'd you get here?" But
was he not kidnapped? Because I haven't seen him in like. He was the most pushed star, and now he's not even. Yeah,
that's what AEW does. But yeah, I'm really confused with what's going on with Rampage because this episode we had Matt Cardona, who is like the Indies like most top guy that they have. Toni Storm was on Rampage.
Maybe the biggest female.
Deonna Purrazzo was on Rampage and one of the up and coming stars.
Chris Statlander.
Yeah, Chris Statlander. Takeshita was on there. Powerhouse Hobbs was on there. Kyle Fletcher was. I mean, it was just like a star-studded episode of Rampage. But Rampage is going off the air. Like their last episode is December 31st, I think. I don't think it's coming back on. Tonight's. I don't know when it's ending, but it's maybe next. I think next Friday is its last episode, the 27th. But so what's the point of putting all these people on this episode? I didn't understand it, and like Toni Storm wrestling her first match back on Rampage didn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, but now that I kind of understand her character a little bit, like I don't hate it as much as I did when I first watched the episode. I was like, what the heck is going on? But even then, like why I don't understand why they're pulling out all the stops for this episode, these Rampage episodes. I just don't get it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Rampage and Collision was better than Dynamite. I did too. Like just for the action. And we were talking before we started about this Continental Classic, because you told me you thought it was like, he texted me like, oh, it's so stupid, it's so pointless. And I fully agree. Who even cares? I forgot who the champion was. He's a guy who has no points even going ahead right now. I don't understand what they're doing with it, but I at least care. Like AEW is so bad at telling stories, but for whatever reason, they can do a tournament good enough to keep me interested. I don't care about a belt, but I care about who's getting points so much so that I'm going to complain about it right now. Could you do me a solid? Kyle Fletcher, who I think is not a star. I don't think he has a star future. I don't think he's a world champion. Not meaning he isn't, because all it takes is for somebody to write him in as one. But I do not think, I've seen people on TikTok and stuff claim him as like the new big thing and this, and he is a Temu version of Will Ospreay. The end. He will never be better than Will. He's basically a lower version of Will Ospreay. But nonetheless, my opinion doesn't matter because they are pushing him to the moon. This guy just beat Will Ospreay in a match that people claimed was the greatest match of history between Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. You then follow that up with him winning 9 points instantly in this tournament, right? Who did he beat again? That's right. He beat Daniel Garcia, who's an up-and-comer. He beat Takeshita. Or is it Okada? Who's in it? Takeshita. Okada. He beat Okada, and he got 3 big wins. Then you put him up against the almighty Mark Briscoe, and you have him lose clean. Mark Briscoe beat him clean, pinned him in the middle of the ring, clean. Mark Briscoe beat Kyle Fletcher. Does that diminish the fact that Kyle Fletcher just beat Will Ospreay and just moved? And I'll get more into Will Ospreay on Dynamite, but I'm just really confused on what we're doing here. Is Kyle Fletcher going to win out Why does Tony Khan still care about Mark Briscoe? Can you explain to me why we care about Mark Briscoe? Is he a star? Is he a future champ? Is he somebody that we're going to put our company behind? What are we doing here? Why can't Mark Briscoe lose to Kyle Fletcher, earn 3 points for the tournament, and move on with his life? Why? And so I do care about this title enough to care about this, but I just thought that was very strange booking to see Kyle Fletcher take an L right now when he's legitimately being pushed as like the next big thing in AEW. Or am I missing the point? I don't know.
No, I think he should go undefeated in this. I mean, if you're going to tell me that I kind of agree with you that I personally don't think he is the next big thing in AEW.
Yeah.
But they clearly do. They think he has a bright future. So you have him beat Okada. You have him beat who is the current Continental champion, even though he didn't win the tournament last year. Eddie Kingston won it. But you had him beat Okada. You had him beat, I think, was it Shelton Benjamin he beat too? Like he beat somebody else.
I think he did. And Daniel Garcia.
And Daniel Garcia. I think it was Daniel Garcia.
I think he has like 3
I think it was those
stars.
3, and he got those 9 points. And now you have him lose to Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe's not winning this thing. Mark Briscoe's not making it to the quarterfinals or the semifinals or the finals. So like he won't even make it out of the point round or whatever they do. So I don't understand why not just have him dominate this thing and go in there undefeated, and at least then we have a story. Like, can anybody beat Kyle Fletcher? Can anybody beat who's going to take Kyle Fletcher down? Then you can get us intrigued and kind of have a star that we can kind of have our eyes on and kind of see what he's doing every week and give us a reason to be intrigued with his matches. As if Okada can't beat him, who can? If Daniel Garcia can't beat him, who can? Can Will Ospreay beat him again? Can Ricochet beat? Who knows? But yeah, having him lose questionably like that, it was, to me, it was like, it felt more like we got to give Mark Briscoe some points in this tournament, so he can't go winless. He can't go. He can't have 0. He can't have a goose egg in the tournament. So let's give him some points over Kyle Fletcher, and that just made no sense to me.
Well, the only one who's getting a goose egg is Beast Mortis. Why is he in this tournament?
Yeah.
Why was he in it to begin with? But then he's like the resident jobber. It's pretty sad.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
It's pretty sad. I say we save Toni Storm for Dynamite so we can talk about her as a whole. Anything else on here other than Don Callis claiming that he has the best crew ever, and then they did nothing but lose after he made that statement? They lost to the whole Kyle Fletcher loses. It's Julia Hart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited that she's back. I was surprised that she came back against Jamie Hayter of all. I thought you would think that she'd want to go after the TBS championship. I think her versus Mercedes Moné could be really, really good. Or her versus even Mariah May could be really, really good for the women's side. But for whatever reason, they're hell bent on her facing Jamie Hayter. I mean, I don't understand. I don't think there's a story there. I don't really know if they have a previous history with one another. But either way, I'm excited that Julia Hart's back. I think that's a good warm up feud for her to kind of see what she's got. And I'm happy that she's back. I really I think she could be a shot in the arm for the women's division as well.
For sure. All right, let's get into some Dynamite. You ready?
Always, man.
All right, we start off hot. We got Jay White, Hangman Page, and Orange Cassidy all bickering about who's going to get a piece of Jon Moxley first. Mercedes Moné defends against Anna Jay. FTR weren't kidnapped, ladies and gentlemen. They're just injured, but don't worry. They'll be back January 1st. MJF,
and they're not coming alone.
They are not. And also, I forget where it happens in here, but Kenny Omega is hyped up as making a return, which is good for him because his situation that he had is atrocious as Brock Lesnar. So I'm glad to see that he will be coming back soon.
They need him. Yeah,
they do. Bad. Who else they need is this man to do a little bit better. MJF is back for a chat. He makes fun of Adam Cole's body. Adam Cole appears on the screen, then he's behind MJF and he super kicks him. Cool. Jamie Hayter wants Julia Hart at Fight for the Fallen. The Patriarchy defeats Shibata and Hook. Chris Jericho video of himself at New York. I mean, they show him ice skating, which is kind of funny. I don't know. Mariah May is good with the Tijuana street fight with Thunder Rosa. Ricochet out for a chat. And the Hurt Syndicate come out and legitimately punk him on national TV, ladies and gentlemen. This man left WWE to do what was better for him, and that's to get punked like a little biatch on national TV. They rip his card up, and he leaves. Shelton Benjamin then defeats Beast Mortis, of course, to earn himself 3 more points after they decide to beat up Beast Mortis, because why not? And then out come Daniel Garcia and Mark Briscoe to make the save, but they also get beat up. Shelton holds up the TNT title. That I also forgot existed. Backstage, Swerve Strickland says, you know what, Ricochet? You didn't get enough. So he makes fun of him backstage. And then Ricochet does like a or something. I don't know what the hell is going on. We get an interview with RJ City and Toni Storm, and she thinks she just debuted in AEW. Darby Allin, ladies and gentlemen, defeats Will Ospreay. Let me repeat. Darby Allin defeats Will Ospreay to earn 3 points. No, it was not the match of the year. I'm sorry to break it to you. Get over it. We'll get more into that. And in the main event, the Death Riders defeat Jay White, Hangman Page, and Orange Cassidy, with Orange Cassidy taking the L. After the match, the Death Riders fail at trying to attack, and they are chased off to close the show. And that's the Dynamite review. All right, where do you want to start, dude? Nothing like turning on my TikTok and seeing morons talk about how that was the best match they've ever seen on TV. Are you kidding? I'm so sick of like, they did something stupid. That's the match of the, did it tell a story? No, it was Darby Allin just getting beat up stupidly. Match of the year. I don't care what you say, bro. You can look at my painted nails and stuff. It's the match of the year, bro. Match of the year. It was not.
No,
I'm sorry.
No,
it was decent. It was a cool match, I guess.
I'm gonna be honest. Hear it. I fast forwarded through a lot of the match. I was just like, this match, like, not every match has to be 35 freaking minutes long. I'm sorry. I feel like AEW, like that match went like at least 1, maybe 2 commercial breaks, maybe even 3. It was just, it kept on going. I was like, oh my gosh. So I got to a point where I fast forwarded through it a little bit, and I got to the end, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, Darby Allin picks up a nice win. Cool. But okay. Like that's kind of how I felt after the match. Like, to me, like a match of the year, it's like I feel something after the match. And maybe I'm not fast forwarding through a match of the year match, in my opinion. But even afterwards, I just didn't feel any connection. Like, oh yeah, Darby Allin won. And I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't even surprised that Will Ospreay took a loss. I just it was just like, oh, okay, cool. Big deal. Like, Will Ospreay is probably still going to be in the finals of this tournament, so it doesn't really matter at the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it wasn't match of the year by any stretch.
No, so Kevin Owens, after his match, put, I think, Cody Rhodes on the shelf for a little bit. I don't know if they didn't really announce it, but he has like whatever made up injuries he said he had. What did he do to Cody Rhodes? Do you remember?
A pile driver.
Pile driver, yeah. Just a simple pile driver, right? Okay. So Darby Allin took multiple moves. So he took his little coffin drop on the edge of the ring apron, which is one of the stupidest things on his spine, hitting the side and edge of the ring. He then took Will Ospreay's finisher, I think it is, off the apron onto the floor. Darby Allin won the match. I'm so tired of these AEW people who love it so much, who don't think they can do any wrong, who think this is what storytelling is. Darby Allin getting ridiculously beat up and still winning doesn't make anything special. It makes what they're doing feel less important. You know what I mean? Also, Kyle Fletcher just got the biggest win of his career, supposedly, in the other match of the year, right? Because everything Will Ospreay does is the match of the year. And he wrestled and beat Will Ospreay. That was, what, a month ago, if that?
Yeah.
Kyle Fletcher then became the next big thing because he beat Will Ospreay in a match. Darby Allin just got beat up for 35 minutes and was able to pull out a victory on Will Ospreay. So does that diminish his win now? Is Kyle, like, this is what I'm saying with WWE booking, right? Kyle Fletcher beat Will Ospreay, then loses to Mark Briscoe. Will Ospreay loses in a close match of the year, quotations, against Kyle Fletcher to make Kyle Fletcher the next big thing, and then he goes and loses it to Darby Allin. And nothing against Darby Allin, just I don't understand the book. And this is what I talk about with AEW. It's like, what do you guys do? Don't diminish that. And it's true, that does happen. Happens all the time, like in real sports. If an NFL team, if you beat a team and they think they're good and then they go on a losing streak, that win doesn't feel as good anymore, right?
No.
Right? You want to know why the Rams beating the Bills was so important? because the Bills followed that up with beating up on the Lions. So now that win feels even more. After that match, guess what? People thought the Rams are even more of a big deal because they did beat the Bills, who then went on and beat the Lions, who people think are the best team in the NFL. That's what makes it feel big, right? The Bills beat the Chiefs, for crying out loud. The Rams beat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the Bills would have went and lost to the Lions, then people probably this week would have said, the Rams just beat a team who kind of fallen off, right? They lost 2 in a row now. That's what wrestling needs to feel real. You can't have Kyle Fletcher make a name off of Will Ospreay and then Darby Allin just randomly beat him in a random match that people are claiming is the match of the year, which it wasn't. So it's just like really weird booking.
Yeah, it's a lot like March Madness, where you know they do everything based on like who makes the NCAA tournament based on strength of schedule. And you know, if you're, you know, some, you know, San Diego State or Utah State and you beat number 1 ranked Kansas at the beginning of the year, yeah, that's a great win at the time. But let's say Kansas ends up finishing 16-15. They were ranked number 1 at the beginning of the year, but at the end of the year, they're not even in the tournament. That was a great win at the time, but it's not anymore. And it's because everybody beat Kansas. So it's not as special. So that dings Utah State or San Diego State for, you know, whatever. And it's the same thing here in this tournament. That's how it should feel in this tournament. It should feel that level of importance that, you know, Kyle Fletcher's win is diminished now because Darby Allin beat Will Ospreay.
I agree.
And I just, and I didn't agree with the decision. I think I think it should have been Kyle Fletcher dominated in the tournament. Will Ospreay dominates in the tournament. And then they meet in the finals, and the two undefeated guys, the 2 guys that nobody can beat, someone's going to lose, and who's it going to be? Like,
Weird.
There's a story right there.
What?
A story. It starts with an S and rhymes with glory.
Glory. Hey, glory. Can we talk please, dear God? Can you please tell me? I mean, I just want to know. I haven't seen anyone defend any of this booking right now.
This segment was god awful.
But so supposedly there's a clip of Triple H saying about it was an old clip, or I don't know if it's after he left or whatever, that Ricochet is a phenomenal wrestler, but he was afraid to touch a mic because he was so bad. I don't know if that's real or not, or people just edited it to make fun of him now.
But it was when he was in NXT, and it was like an NXT underground. Like it was like before he was big. Like he's a phenomenal talent in the ring, but he's not quite ready on the microphone, and it's like going all around.
He really isn't, because well, I don't here's the thing. Why did he come out and get punked? Like, he just got punked. Like, where did that even come from? Is this his gimmick? Him being a heel? Is he getting? Where do we go with? And then he went backstage, and then Swerve made fun of him, and he's like, "Oh, you're calling me by my real name? Yeah, that's who you'll always be. A joke." I'm like, but the guy is a joke. Like, the one thing I've always said, and this is what I used to get mad about John Cena when he cut promos. You can't cut a promo and talk about something that's real, right? Like when The Rock came out and called Big Show the Big Slow, I think that hurt the Big Show's career, because then people were like, yeah, this dude is slow. He is, compared to Kane and The Undertaker and other big men who are fast. This guy is slow. Why do I want to watch this guy? You can't insult people of their...
I think that's what he meant when he called him the Big Slow. But
no, that is because he was because he was like just like nah.
Okay. I never picked up on that. I thought it.
Yes, and that was like a huge turning point supposedly in Big Show's career. That after that, people were like, "Yeah, this guy is slow." You can't bring up real flaws. And you can't have Swerve make fun of the way he talks on the mic right after you can't have him get punked. They ripped up his card, and then he was like, well, gee golly, I think I'm still going to have a chance though. Yippee. Yeah. Like just explain to me what we're doing with him.
Don't know.
He cut a stupid promo where he said he was AEW and about how he should have and defended his wife's sister. He has done, I don't know what's happening right now. I'm confused.
Yeah, I do not know what they're like. That segment was god awful, and that was atrocious. And I don't know if Tony Khan is thriving on this because he's Vince McMahon and he's making all the ex-WWE guys look like punks, which is what Vince used to do with the WCW guys, or what. But
the Hurt Syndicate just came. I mean,
no, and they're looking. But that honestly, that wasn't a good segment for them either. I mean, all of it was bad, but. yeah, like I don't understand what they're doing. Maybe, yeah, I have no words for this. It was so bad. It was so bad.
It really was. All of
And
it. And it
it
didn't make
served
him
no
look good.
purpose. Served no purpose
No.
either.
No.
Yeah.
Really bizarre. Really bizarre.
Yeah.
I was caught off guard.
Yeah, it might be worst segment of the year by far in AEW.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of bad ones.
There has.
But the thing I want to talk about is our girl Toni Storm. You know, we didn't talk about it on Rampage, or we talked about it a little bit, but we didn't talk about it with Collision, with her saying that she's officially all elite, and then her interview with RJ City, where she doesn't remember being called timeless, and she was like, "Timeless? What are you talking about? Like, I think you mean it's Tony time," and even showed him how to do the rock star symbol. And I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think Toni Storm might be the most interesting character that AEW has at the moment. I think that, like, I was a little pissed off that she was wrestling her first match on Rampage at first. And then I realized, like, okay, like she's doing an amnesia gimmick, and this is like her first match. And that's what you do when you first come to AEW is you go through the rounds and you make your face shown on Rampage. You make your face shown on Collision. So I'm kind of digging what they're doing with her right now. I feel like, you know, the fact that she spoke highly of Mercedes Moné and called her an icon, and then spoke highly about Mariah May, the person that just beat her down at All In this year in London, and beat her with and Saraya, her former stablemate. It was just such. I'm digging it, man. I like what they're doing with Toni Storm, and I feel like she's somebody. Like, you can tell when somebody has like a brilliant wrestling mind, and I think she's somebody that has a really good wrestling mind that kind of has a beginning, a middle, and an end of her story mapped out. And I think this is probably going to lead to her either winning the title back and all of a sudden remembering, or beating Mariah May and getting her belt back, or something, or at least a rematch with Mariah May. But I'm here for everything they're doing with Toni Storm.
I'm still mad she wrestled on Rampage. She could have started on Collision. She didn't need it, especially because she said I'm all elite. I don't think she should have been on Rampage, and I stick to that. I think that was a stupid decision. But I like what she's doing. Actually, I love what she's doing, and I think it is all her. And the timeless gimmick was perfect until she went full-blown lesbian. Then it kind of lost interest towards the end. But her coming back as Toni Storm is super cool. Do you think she has amnesia, or do you think she's faking it to face Mariah May? Is this like a dupe? I really think it's a dupe. I think she's going to like beat Mariah May somehow, and then all of a sudden be timeless again, and it's gonna. I think this is like a dupe. I don't think she really has amnesia. I think it's like with the frog and Muppets Take Manhattan. You know what I mean? I think she callback. I think she phenomenal movie, by the way.
Great movie.
I think she literally is like playing games. That's what I think.
I think it's a long-term play, though. I think it's not gonna we're not
great storytelling. Yeah,
we're not gonna get that match at.
No.
Yeah, I think we'll get it maybe next year at All In, or whenever they go to London again. But I could see her, being the Mariah May to Mariah May being Toni Storm, where she becomes the apprentice, and she becomes like and then
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna all of a sudden have like the lipstick on her face, and Mariah May's gonna turn around and she's gonna like clock her, and I think that's what we're doing 100%. I think she's even gonna like try to do the TBS championship. I think she's gonna like build her way back up. And yes, I think she's gonna be Mariah May's like little biatch 100%, which is good because Mariah May needs a good title run. So that means hers goes longer. I'm all for it, man. Positive stuff. Other positives too. I like what we're doing right now with the Death Rider. I know you didn't like the 4-way or whatever, but I like the 3-man.
So
I like them. I like them bickering and being like, I want Moxley first, and you're gonna get, and it's starting because it's gonna make obviously how Moxley gets a win and how he's outsmarting AEW, because he's gonna, just like they did in the NWO with WCW. I think they're gonna wrestle and they're all gonna bicker, and Moxley's gonna roll them up and be like, yeah, you guys, this is what I'm talking about. You guys, we need to fix AEW, and this is one of the reasons. I came in and beat 3 of your best men by myself with no help. You know what I mean? I think this is a good way of continuing to push what John Moxley's trying to preach. I appreciate it.
In that case, I see what you're saying, and I like that. The only thing I don't like is Adam Page being in this match. I don't know what it is.
So like, good though.
He is really good. Like, I love Adam Page, and he's had. I would put him up there as like the best wrestler that AEW's had this year.
He might be top 3 star of the years. Yeah,
he's up there, but it just, I don't know. He just feels randomly inserted into this. Like, he's lost every feud he's been in. and now he's like the one calling the shots as to Jay White and to Orange Cassidy. Like, I don't know, it just feels random for him to be, but everything else, like, I'm all for Jay White being in the match. I'm okay with Orange Cassidy, but Adam Page, just, I don't know, like, I don't know, and it being a 4-way, it just feels strange, but I am digging it. I think he's doing a phenomenal job.
He really is. MJF, can we end on MJF? I know it's going to be a negative, but can we do it?
Yeah, I don't. Can we? Okay, MJF. He's spending too much time on the internet, is what he's doing, because all everybody's been talking about over the last couple of weeks is Adam Cole's body. He looks too scrawny. He hasn't been hitting the gym since he broke his ankle, because you can't put a lot of weight on an ankle when you when you have somebody else's heel in your foot. So yeah, like they're like, everyone's just been talking about like his lack of size, and this is the guy AEW wants to build around, is he's so scrawny. And so, but MJF doesn't need to go on dirt sheets, and he doesn't need to go on social media and get his material off of that. And that's exactly how this whole promo felt. Just the whole like, oh, this little boy is Adam Cole, and I'm going to put him out of his misery. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for the holidays. And it was just a stupid promo. I'm sorry. It was not good. His promos are getting worse. Like, there was one point where this guy was the best heel in AEW and the best heel in wrestling. And now it's forced. And this was another forced promo. He talked about like the sports teams and the Wizards. Like, he did it, like everything he made fun of CM Punk for doing, he was doing in this segment. Like, it was just so bad. And then Adam Cole coming out and beating him down. And even his promo, like, he wants the Dynamite diamond ring, and we're going at, like, I don't know. I'm ready for this feud to be done. Like, I like, as much as I appreciate AEW for telling a long-term story, that this whole thing started at World's End last year and it's ending at World's End this year. Like, but they never should have turned MJF heel. It would have been better if Adam Cole was the babyface, or was the heel, and MJF was the babyface. Then we could be behind it. But right now, I'm just ready for it to end.
I fully agree. And not only is it forced, it's outdated. This guy was getting massages from a girl where he was talking about getting happy endings and harassing her. He follows it up with body shaming Adam Cole. It's just, and I'm not even trying to be political. That's not even who I am. I like it, but they're just not.
It's just not good.
This is like Vince McMahon jokes from like 10 years ago that these AEW fans stopped watching wrestling because of. This is like the kind of stuff we're getting now that we're supposed to support. And it really makes me get into what my wishes will be for AEW. But it's like, we just need to get a grasp on what we're doing. I posted about this on TikTok, and I got a lot of comments of people telling me like, dude, you need to stop hating. They were injured. What do you want? And every single person who wrote that, I said, go look at Drew McIntyre and CM Punk and tell me that you can't have injuries and still have a good story if you're going to keep it. Drew and CM Punk were injured back and forth throughout a whole almost year, and I wanted nothing more than that feud, and it kept going, and it kept going, and they kept it going the whole entire time. Did they not? Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, it was the best, one of maybe the best of this year, and it kept going. What happened at the end of last year, they let it all the way. They never stopped. They were having times where they weren't even touching each other. They had back and forth through the apron, and they finally could touch each other, and then they were able to keep it going through the injuries. The thing that AEW can't do is storytell unless it's Toni Storm, and that's the problem, is that they're trying to long-term storytell, but they had them come back and reversed roles. That threw it off right there, because now you have nothing, everything you built didn't make any more sense. You know what I mean? Like, you have Wardlow sitting around doing nothing. You should have had him switched again, had him be the devil, turn on MJF again, have Wardlow help out, make it. That would have then pushed the story. Instead, you have them switching, and there's no point, because then you're adding in Mr. Pointless Kyle O'Reilly into it too, which it just has not clicked. And the whole body, it wasn't even, what I'm saying about outdated is that it's not that it's like offensive. It's just, we don't, that's not funny jokes anymore.
No, it's not. It's cringy.
Like, even Nikki Glaser doesn't do that. You know what I mean? She's a roast queen. Like, there's things that you can talk about that are edgy, that are funny, that aren't, you're just trying too hard. And he tries too hard. And it's really hurting me, because I loved MJF. I just don't know if he's always been like this and now it's just boring, or he just has gotten cringy.
I think it's a little bit of yes, he has always been like that, but and now it's just boring, but also it's the same exact character. That's the thing. It's like he hasn't evolved. Like I don't even know what his character is right now. And when he was the baby face, he could be one of the guys going up against the Death Riders and being the face of AEW, and you would have a story there, like Mr. I'm in it for the money. I'm Mr. Selfish. I'm Mr. Greedy. But yet here I am fighting for the company that I love, that everyone says I don't love. Like there's a story there, and he can fight against John Moxley. Like you could have kept him as a baby face, and it would have worked. But now, like he's a heel, and he's the same heel that he was in 2019, 2020. And his character has not changed whatsoever. Drew McIntyre has had 3 or 4 heel turns, and all of them have been different. CM Punk has had 3 or 4 heel turns, and all of them have been different. We had the New Day. Look at the New Day. Like they were started off as heels, and now look at them as heels again, and they're getting massive boos because they're 2 different heel characters. MJF is the exact same heel as he was in 2020, 2021, 2022, and it's hurting him. It really is.
Good points. Yeah, good points. Good points. All right. I hate to end it on a downer like that, but I don't know if there's anything positive else to talk about. We already did, unless you want to talk about that awesome Chris Jericho video of him at New York. But other than that, I mean,
no, thank you.
No, I think that was really it. I mean, other than that was all. Briscoe. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's bring it on. It's Wishlist. Fickle Wrestling fans. I love it. We're going to talk about our holiday wish list. Congratulations. We haven't been back in a while. It has been a while. We're going to do a holiday wish list. We did this for our WWE episode. If you've already followed or listened to it, we're going to do our AEW holiday wish list, where we're going to give 3 things each that we want for 2025. We sat on Santa's lap, and this is what we're wishing for. Ryan, let me hear. What are your 3 holiday wish lists? Are you going to make them all about improvements? Are you going to talk about wrestlers? I'm excited to see what your list is. Let's go.
Yeah. So my first wish list item is I want Wardlow to come back. I want to see Wardlow make his return. Right now, AEW might be getting Kenny Omega back relatively soon, and they're hurting for original stars. Like MJF isn't doing things right now. Darby Allin, he can't draw. Orange Cassidy can't draw. They need some originality. And I think Wardlow was the best thing that they had. And I want to see him come back and have a long, lengthy run in AEW. I think he deserves it. So that's my first one. My second one is I hope to God, and I really do hope to God, that everything with streaming on Max goes smoothly. Because the last thing AEW needs is negative publicity. We don't need the app to, it can only hold 10,000 people at bandwidth and nobody can watch it. Especially as you're trying to grow this company, you're trying to expand the organization's horizons and get it involved in front of a new audience. And every time they go to watch live Dynamite, it buffers or it crashes. Like I really hope all of it goes smoothly. I don't think Max has ever done live sports before or live content before. So I'm really kind of nervous about it. I'm kind of nervous about it with Raw and Netflix too, because of the Tyson Jake Paul fight and how all the buffering issues were happening with that too. But I am really worried about it with AEW, just because the internet loves to hate on AEW and they look for every reason they can to crap on it, and somehow to be their fault that Max can't support them. So I do hope it goes smoothly just for their sake. And then the third thing that I want to see is boost the women's division in AEW and whether it's Toni Storm beating Mercedes Moné or beating Mariah May or something, but just give us a reason to watch the women's division. And right now we have it in Toni Storm, we have it in Mariah May, but give us other reasons, like push Chris Statlander, push Deonna Purrazzo, like you have some of the best women's wrestlers out there. Push Thunder Rosa, push
Willow, Julia Hart.
Nightingale, Julia Hart. Yeah, Julia Hart just came back, and she wasn't even on Dynamite this week. That makes no sense. Like they should be featured regularly. So those are my 3 things: boost the women's division, hope and pray everything goes well on Max with streaming because AEW needs it, and bring back Wardlow.
I love it. I love it. You didn't attack. I like it. I did my
tried
best
not
to do that as well. Yeah. All right. My number one. It's going to sound negative, but it's not. Mercedes Moné loses her title, takes a little bit of time off, and comes back with a refreshed character. This woman was the star in WWE, one of the pillars of WWE Women's Division when they came back and got huge and was in the talks of Charlotte Flair and a Becky Lynch. No one would dare talk about her name in the breath of any of them anymore. Her going to AEW has done nothing but honestly hurt her legacy. Her match against Anna Jay wasn't exciting. The crowd doesn't care. She's not getting booed. She's not getting cheered. Listen, you all you got to do is listen. I'm not lying. She needs to lose her title, take some time off, and come back as her Sasha Banks type of character. It doesn't have to be Sasha Banks, but you know what I mean. Get that vibe. I just feel bad because Tony Khan jumped the gun because they were in Boston and debuted her too early, and it just took too long for her to get in, and she just lost steam right off the bat, and it's a shame. So that's my number one wish list. Let's reboot this woman because she is a star, and she should be a star. Number two, Christian Cage cashes in his contract and becomes the world champ. Needs to happen. Christian Cage is the dude. If we're not going to run with, maybe he'll be the savior of AEW if it doesn't become Orange Cassidy, who's already in black clothes. But yes, Christian Cage needs it. I know he's 75 years old. I can give two shits. The man's a star. And then maybe you have a returning Adam Copeland who will then take the belt off of him, and they can both get an AEW world title before they retire. Number three, AEW, let's hire a professional booker and a professional booking team. We need to stop letting the wrestlers book. This is WCW and why I think the main reasons it failed. You cannot have them book. You need a booking team and people who actually understand how to book professional wrestling. Tony Khan, you've done as best as you can, but you're not a professional wrestling booker. There are people who can do that very easily. So many people right now in the world that can do it. They aren't even part of WWE. Get somebody in there, have them book. Maybe in a former wrestler like Triple H. That's why he's so good, because he knows how it is. Find somebody, even if you do Jake Rock, and well, maybe he's too old in the game. Anybody from the 90s that you can bring in and have them book television for you and have a team around them. They don't have to write word for word, but they can give you good ideas and take those things that MJF has and say, look, no, I like where you're going, but let's take this out. Why don't we add something like this? Now run with it, MJF. Thank you. That's what a booker does. Doesn't do it for them, guides them to put them in because they understand the business. That's what I'm hoping AEW does. So that's my 3 holiday wish list for AEW of 2025.
Yeah, I like all those ideas. I think the last one in particular, there's options out there. I mean, Scott D'Amore is available. Freddie Prinze Jr. would be fantastic for them. There's so many names out there. I mean, you can just go get somebody from Hollywood, like somebody that understands writing weekly television on a regular basis and understands that, maybe somebody that's done drama and kind of, understands compelling stories and things like that. So I'm all for that. Let's get a writing team. Mercedes Moné does need a break. And Christian Cage, I'm all in on him winning the world title. It needs to happen right now.
Break the internet. Sign Eric Bischoff. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, they won't. But
break the internet. I'm dead serious. Bring in Eric Bischoff. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I would love that. I think it would be great.
Make Chris Jericho retire. Put in Chris Jericho. Bring in somebody who can book professional. I'm telling you. It's not hard. That's all they need.
Bryan Danielson. Right. I think Bryan Danielson.
He's already retired. Why is he not the main booker? But you need a booking team too. Just like screenplays nowadays, there's not one guy writing a script anymore. There's not one person who writes a TV show. SNL's written by a team. Yes, you need a team of people so you get multiple ideas so they can get the one idea and then make it bigger. That's what we need to do here. So a booker and a booking team. But anyway, all right, let's get into our segment of the week. That is the LVD and the MVD, the least valuable dude and dudette and the most valuable dude and dudettes of the week of Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite. As always, we'll start. Who is yours least valuable dude or dudette of the week?
I think we're going to have the same one. I have this feeling, but I'm going to go Ricochet. I just feel like that segment did him no favors whatsoever. He's wrestling Will Ospreay tomorrow night on Collision in the Continental Classic. and I do not care. It's supposed to be like they had their first match on one of the Dynamites earlier this year, and here we are like a couple months later, and he's wrestling him again, and I don't care because of that segment on Dynamite. That segment did him no favors. It didn't boost that match at all. There was no promo. He didn't even talk about that match. He barely mentioned Will Ospreay's name, just that he's going to beat him. And maybe Shelton Benjamin can add some points to his resume. And that was it. And then that they ripped up the card. It was just a stupid segment. It was not a good week for Ricochet. Unfortunately, because I should be excited about this match with Will Ospreay, because if the Darby Allin match was match of the year, this one's going to be match of the decade, because these two guys are going to steal the show, and I could give two shits about this match going into it. So that's how I feel. Ricochet's my LVD of the week.
What a difference a mic where it makes, huh? Just one mic, and now it has changed, because when he wrestled Will Ospreay, that was the whole reason why he came to AEW, technically. Yeah. But I have a feeling Ricochet's going to win. I think they're doing a Will Ospreay losing streak gimmick right now, which honestly takes away from Kyle Fletcher. But anyway, I 100%. Knew you were going to pick Ricochet, so I didn't. I'm going with a surprise. I'm going with the surprise. I'm going with Hook. And here's why. Hook, dad, was injured, put in the hospital, cannot announce it. He's so badly hurt that he can no longer announce an AEW because of Christian Cage. How's that been going on? Didn't they have a match this week in a tag team? Oh, that's right. Did Hook win that? Oh no, that's right. Hook's team lost, and he just seems like a afterthought because Christian Cage is trying to cash in and threatening, and that's all he's talking about. He's not talking about Hook at all. Hook is such a talented wrestler with so much promise. I still think he should go to NXT. He would thrive there under that building blocks and just fine-tuning him. But Hook, in my opinion, man, I know it's not as bad as Ricochet, but dude, this dude's dad was injured, and he's like, is he even going to wrestle Christian Cage in a match? Like, what are we? Yeah. I don't even know what happened to him. Lost at a tag team match. I feel like this thing is just needs to move on already. It's pretty sad.
Yeah,
mine's Hook.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely forgot about this feud, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just been that poorly executed, and I was excited about this when they first announced that Christian Cage was the attacker of Taz and that Hook was going to be work. I thought this is going to be exactly what Hook needs to kind of get on the right path. He's going to be working with the legend and Christian Cage, probably the top heel that AEW has. He's going to get a lot of exposure. Christian Cage is fantastic. He could work with a mop and get the mop over somehow. But no, Christian Cage hasn't even mentioned him. It's an afterthought, and I just don't get it. And yeah, they have not booked this feud well at all.
Whatsoever. All right. Positives. That's how we end all our shows. Who is your most valuable dude or dudette? I have a feeling we'll be different, but I know yours. Go.
Toni Storm. She is the MVD of the week. She's the most interesting person on Rampage, most interesting character on Collision, and most interesting person on Dynamite of right now in AEW. That's not to say that the Death Riders aren't entertaining or the Christian Cage isn't, but right now her character, and again, it's the wrestling mind. I think she has a beginning, a middle, and an end outlined for this character and the story of where she wants to go. And I think Tony Khan is letting her run with it. And as long as it doesn't take any weird twists and turns, it could be a really great thing for the women's division and for AEW. And I thought this week was a great start. I'm curious to see if this amnesia thing, how long it continues, or if she is duping everybody. I just hope they don't rush it. And I kind of have I let it cook, let it do its thing. Don't rush it for the sake of ratings or for the sake of a match or anything. So, but Toni Storm is my MVD of the week.
Good one. I don't think they're gonna rush it. They didn't rush it last time either.
I'm
gonna go with another female. I'm gonna go Julia Hart. I think her build was great. I know Jamie Hayter just took an L and probably shouldn't take another L already. And I don't see how she beats Julia Hart in her first match back. But her just appearing, putting her in the finisher, just her beauty, her stare, her walking to the ring, up the ramp, backwards, singing her song, and the crowd chants, the house always wins. And it was just beautiful. The thing is, where the heck's House of Black again? I don't know what's going on here. So why have her come back and then all of a sudden make House of Black disappear? But either way, Julia Hart's my most valuable dude. I know she didn't do much other than that, but sometimes a return is good. She finally appeared and it was magic to my eyes. So yeah, Julia Hart. I was going to pick Toni Storm, but once again, I did something I knew you wouldn't do. So there it is.
No, I love the return of Julia Hart. And again, we need the women's division to be boosted. And I think she's going to add a huge layer of depth. And I'm curious to see what they do with her. But yeah, where is House of Black? Let's get them out of it. Let's figure something out with them. Because you had them booked just a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, you have Brody King in the Continental Classic, but yet you can't do anything with House of Black. I don't get it.
Me neither. All right, that's it. We did it. We finally did an AEW episode. It feels good. I miss not doing them. I've taken notes, and we just couldn't get on the same page, but we made it work today.
Holidays,
thanks to you being up. I know, man. I know. All right, next week we decided we're probably just going to do a couple year-end episodes so we can record them whenever we can, because with the holidays, it gets tough with Christmas next week. So we will be on next week for both episodes. We're just going to probably just do quick year-end review episodes and maybe a prediction for World's End. So check it out next week. As always, thank you for tuning in. I know you AEW fans missed us. You love hearing your two favorite dudes talk about the organization that we do want what's for the best, but don't always talk so highly about. As always, like he's saying, subscribe on YouTube and so on, but he will cover that. As always, I'm your boy, Mr. MWO. Check me out at all social medias with my _wrestling_opinion. If you want to hear my voice, my views are getting back up, so you might actually see me. And with me, as always, is
Ryan Enjoys Wrestling on all social platforms. Go follow us. Go follow me there. Go follow me follow us on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Hit us up on X at 2 Dudes PC. We're going to have some new graphics coming out soon with new logos and new everything. For the change of the new year, new us type deal. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, thank you for all the love and support. Go leave us a 5-star rating and review. Tell everyone about your favorite 2 dudes on the internet. And keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. We're growing. We've had a rough December. Our numbers have stayed the same, but we've gone down in terms of watch time because we haven't had a lot of content, and that's on us. So we're gonna get back to that regularly. And so keep subscribing. We got some big things coming up, like I said earlier. Stay tuned.
Do it. What up, Wrestling Figure Galore? 2 Dudes Wolfpack. We out. Let's go.
With attitudes, let's go. It's the 2 dudes and the attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the 2 dudes with the attitudes will bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.